All right, we live. Julie
Hey, what's
Outrage, Julio. Thank you for coming through to the QBC Archives.
for sure, for sure. Good to be
Um, yeah, the traveler, the
here.
musician, the filmmaker, the journalist, the photography. What do you not do?
Yeah. I do a lot of things. That's true. That's real.
Real. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, your pronouns, your sign, and where you from.
Yeah. So my name's Julie. Obviously, you already got that. But I'm a Cancer. Um,
Oh, yes.
people have a lot to say about that. Yes, I'm emotional. I'm whatever, sensitive, whatever else you want to say, petty, possibly. Who knows?
Petty gang, petty gang.
Lots of things. I'll take it. I usually hate telling people my sign. I'm like, why you need to know? But my pronouns are she and her, they, them. I don't really get offended if someone's like, I sometimes like I'm dressed a certain way or I'm feeling a certain way, and I'll go by kind of whatever people assume.
Yeah.
To be honest. But I'm actually from West Africa. I was born in Senegal
Oh,
originally. My family's from Burkina Faso, in West Africa. But I moved to like DC area when I was like about 3, so I've been
wow.
here for a long time. But I go back there every couple of years. I have a lot of family there and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, mostly from DC. I've lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for like 5 years. I've lived in Baltimore for 4 years. Um, yeah, pretty much a Maryland, DC native.
How did you get from you said Senegal?
Yeah.
How you get from there to DC like DC like traveling? Like how did you get from there to here?
Well, my family just like they ended up moving to the U.S. at that time. I was 2 at the time. I have 3 older sisters, but they were a little bit older. But yeah, they
Are
just
you the baby?
I am. I'm the youngest. Yeah. Um, so it just happened to be that they moved here at that time.
Hmm. Got you. So let's talk about the music, because yo, you just when it comes to the music, that's really one of the biggest reasons I won't even say the biggest, one of the reasons I did reach out to you, because I just love finding, people within the community who create shit that's not really it's like not the mainstream thing that you see every day.
Right.
You have the Poets of Unk, and how long did you how long and when did you get started in the music scene, and it just start encompassing, that hip hop, funk, rock, jazz influence? Like when did you first pick this up, and how did you kind of formulate all of this together with the Poets of
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Poets of Bunk is like an older band that I had when I lived in Baltimore.
Okay.
And I still play with one of the guitars sometimes. But I started playing guitar like when I was in middle school. And then in high school, I ended up getting like a guitar teacher who kind of just like took me under his wing and like was just like a guitar guru for me. I took lessons with him for like maybe a year. Then after that, we ended up becoming friends, and he just taught me free lessons for like the next 2 years, and I kind of like grew from there, from like his influence and what he taught me with guitar. And I went to school in Baltimore. I went to undergrad there. Like I studied music for like about like 2 years when I was there. That's kind of like where I developed a little bit more jazz. I was in a jazz guitar program, kind of like learn a little bit more about singing, like using my voice and stuff like that. And from there, like there's a lot of musicians that were in that program, and that's how I met my friends that I played with Poets of Unkin. And we ended up like it was kind of at the end of college that we like started this band, and then we kind of just ran with it. Um, and since then, I've kind of just done a solo project, which is just like Julio, but I play with like a lot of different musicians, and every time I play, it's like a different set. Like
Hmm.
when we had a drummer, we used to have like play punk sometimes if it was a punk drummer. Be a rock show, we play rock. Hip hop, we do hip hop. Like
Hmm.
jazz set, we play the jazz set. Like it was whatever we could build on.
Hmm. I mean, that's roaring with damn creative expression. just being able, like that duality of being able to collaborate with different artists and come up with a new sound. Like that's why, I mean, you kind of explain when I was on your website, I was looking into and just listening to your music. You know, you have a funk, rock, jazz, and company, you hip hop, but it's so many different sounds I hear when I listen to your music at once. It's just like, what? How?
Yeah, we do like when I play with someone, basically like, so we're gonna improvise, like whatever groove you're feeling at that moment, like let's just play it, let's do it. Because we might like at a rehearsal, we might be like, oh, the song's gonna be 4 minutes. When we end up playing it on stage, it's like 8-minute drum solo, like something different happens. But I'm like all into improvisation, collaborating with other musicians. Like I really like having other people put input in the project and just like building a new thing from there. Sometimes I'll keep the same lyrics of a song, but the entire structure will change. The entire, like the chords will change, everything. And we kind of just, go from there.
Nice. I love it. So the last song that you just released, I don't know if that this is like the last release that you've had, but the last song that I've listened to was called Untitled.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, what was the concept behind Untitled, and what was on your mind when you wrote that song? It's really, when I listen to the song, it's really like, it has this real like gritty, like, and you know what? It's I don't know. It just has a real, just when you listen to it, not only like the lyrics, but just the feeling, the feeling of the song as it's playing. It's just really like, it's a lot of emotion in there. So I wanted to know, like, what was on your mind when you wrote that song? And was Entitled on purpose? Did you name it Untitled on purpose, or you just didn't know what to name it at that time?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to name it at the time. Like that song has kind of progressed a little bit. It was originally a song that was just instrumental guitar, and I ended up working with like a new person who produced a track for me, and we kind of got a little bit more into working with like electronic beats and synths and stuff. So that's kind of how that song came together. But yeah, I wrote that song maybe like 2-3 years ago, and it was kind of like, it's a little bit about like life and depression and being an artist and like the space that it takes to come out of that. That's why it's like so emotional. But a lot of it is just like me struggling with the different things that come up in my life, and like depression, and art and music being a part of that. Like, so that was kind of just like a catharsis of like a poem that I had written that I kind of I actually just wrote it in one sitting. I don't even know how I wrote it all in one sitting. It just like all came out. And some of it is, I mean, you know how it is being an artist.
Yeah.
Being a Black artist, being queer, like having a lot of things going on in your life, but trying to push through that. And also using different healing methods to get through that. But not always succeeding, but kind of falling, picking up, and keep going, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that was kind of what that song is about. I would have to go line by line to really like get into it. Some of it is about relationships, some of it is about, it's a lot of different things kind of combined in there.
In one sitting though, that you had a lot to pour out on that day.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't have the inspiration to write, but when I really do, I usually write like the entire song in just one sitting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely a release. That's definitely a release. And honestly, it kind of plays onto your sign. Because
yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean,
because when y'all ready to let it out, it pours out,
right.
Hey, the watery aspect of y'all sign. It's like, all right, this is what I gotta say. Because this is how it is, so that's very interesting.
I'm pretty in touch with my feelings and emotions, though. Like I try to hide it and be like a tough guy a lot. But when I really do get emotional, it's over. It's like an explosion of emotions. Like I need to talk about it all. Like now, like we gotta have this hour conversation. It's like 70 text messages. Like no, finally, I need to say what's up.
Right. Because I've been holding it in. I've been trying to like,
right.
but I can't do it no more. I got you. I definitely.
It's weird for me though. Like when I write, sometimes I don't even realize I'm feeling a certain way. Like I used to journal a lot, which I don't do as much, and so like I write songs. But sometimes I'll write a song and be like, "Wow, this was how I was feeling. I didn't even know that that was inside there. Like that was so buried, and I had no idea I felt that way. It's not until I start writing it down, because I wrote that whole song and I looked back on it and I was like, damn, what was that? Like, this is how I've been feeling. I had no idea.
Yeah. So would you say that when you write songs that it's kind of like your way, like, is it healing for you? I mean, of course, as an artist, you know, is it like more of a healing process in itself?
Yeah.
When you are sitting down and you're releasing all of that energy out onto the pen and pad, or however you know, document your lyrics or write down your lyrics, like, is that
yeah, I would definitely say that. I think for me, like playing music in general is like a very healing energy. Like picking up a guitar or even like listening to music. But I just like really enjoy performing too. Like it's like being able to play the song and other people kind of relating to it in a certain way, or being able to feel, like you said, you kind of felt like the energy of it. And it's just interesting that like people can hear it, they can tell that there's something in there. And it's kind of nice to relate to people in that way. But yeah, I think just in general, sitting down and writing is important for everybody to do. I think it's just like a very introspective way, and it's like almost meditative. You know, I feel like you go into your subconscious when you just like allow yourself to write whatever, whether it's metaphorical, like, you know, or even a poem or even journaling. You just kind of let everything come out. You'd be surprised. Like, it's like when people go to a therapy session, like for the first time, like people have never been to therapy. Some people, I've heard people be like, yeah, I sat and cried the entire therapy session. Or like, I was asked one question and I was like, oh my God, like I've never spoken about this. I didn't know I felt this way. I feel like you're talking to yourself in this situation, you know? So you can be as private or, you know, personal, or as far as you want. And you can share that or not share that. When you decide to share it, it's kind of an amazing catharsis of like, now people know who I really am.
Right. Yeah. It's that vulnerability that really, like, you got to tap into. Yeah. And I think even as a society, a lot of us, I know I even struggle with it, being vulnerable. Yeah. Because I don't, you know, I don't necessarily sometimes just don't want people to know how I'm truly feeling, because, you know, but vulnerability does play a lot of role as an artist, and to whatever you do, whether it's music, you know, you do photography, filmmaking, which we're going to get into, like, vulnerability definitely speaks volumes in that. And I can definitely tell when listening to the music that you put out, it's not just, I appreciate that about an artist. I mean, I feel like any artist, when they put their music out or whatever art that they putting out, it is a form of creative expression, but you can tell that you were digging. Like, I can tell that it was whatever you're putting out, it came from inside of you. Like, it's to the core. And I appreciate that about an artist, instead of just making music that appeases to a certain type of crowd or a certain type of, it's like, nah, this is me. You know what I mean? Like, this is all me. You know what I mean? And just, I'm sharing a piece of myself with you. You know what I mean? That's dope.
Thank you.
That's dope. I love it. But we'll definitely talk more into the music, because I'm definitely just on another day. But I want to get into all the other things that you do, because you don't just do music. And I found that out because I was just, you know, I like to research. I was on your website and I was just looking into, clicking on stuff, and I was like, oh, she doing photography, filmmaking, journalism. Like, I wanted to specifically, though, touch on the Hope documentary.
Yeah.
What, like, 40 Black boys in Southeast DC, which, for those of y'all that don't know, Southeast DC is probably one of the, from what I've heard from people who actually live in DC, is one of the roughest areas in DC. So tell what about the Hope documentary? Tell us about that.
So yeah, this was about a program basically that they set up for the first time last summer in DC. It was called the Boys Institute. It was a little bit part of the Obama initiative, My Brother's Keeper. So it was trying to fund like programs for underprivileged youth. So these were elementary school kids, like about like 6 to maybe 8 years old. And the program was basically to help facilitate like a program that empowered young Black men who were like kind of stuck in a situation of there's like a lot of crime there. There's a lot of boys who don't have father figures, who maybe don't have the best family conditions, don't have the best support systems, and possibly would get into a situation where they're kind of in, you know, not like a prison pipeline, but, you know, a certain situation that would not empower them as Black men. So this program was like, they brought in a lot of mentors to mentor these kids. They would be there all day. They would take them to like different places in DC. We had like a whole place where they went to the Lincoln Memorial and did a protest. They met a lot of Black entrepreneurs that basically like just enforced that you are somebody and you are important. But we also need to let you know the ways in which this society does not support you. So it was very weird, real. Like we had a time where we actually talked to the kids about like school shootings, and I was interviewing like this kid was 6 years old, and he was like, "Yeah, they're just shooting us for no reason." This is coming from a 6-year-old, boy, like just, and then he would move on to the next topic. You know, so he knows that as a young Black man, he is in some ways a threat to society, which is really, really crazy to hear. But basically, this was a 5-week program that I was really lucky to get involved with and to shoot. And yeah, it ended up being one of the most like powerful things I've shot in a long time.
Wow.
The program was really amazing. Like they call these boys kings. They would give them hats that says like king on them. They did like spray painting projects. Like these kids were growing up fast. Like talking to them, you knew that these people were gonna be like, they were gonna grow up to be very powerful people when they grow up, based on just how they would treat them in this program. And you know, they were teaching them like Malcolm X, like the autobiography of Malcolm X. Like I did not learn about Malcolm X when I was in elementary school. That in itself would have enlightened me to like no end, reading the autobiography or being taught personally the autobiography of Malcolm X at like 7 years old. So yeah, that was a 5-week program that I was really, really lucky to be able to film and get involved with everyone there and the teachers and stuff like that.
So where is the, I know, because it said it was a private, like, is it released anywhere? Like, can we look for it anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, my plan was to do a re-edit and possibly apply to some film festivals. So I didn't want to fully release the whole thing. But at some point I was like, you know, I think people should just see it, you know. I think it's a good project in the way it is, but I do want to do like some re-edits and make it a little bit more polished, because I have like over like 30, 40 hours of, more than 40 hours of footage probably from this program, and a lot of great interviews with mentors, people in the community talking about the program. The program is still going right now. They do other initiatives that are related to the Boys Institute. They don't have the summer program again, but they're doing a lot of work in the community, trying to build up, and it's a good program. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna release it for sure in like a bigger way pretty soon once I like re-edit some things and stuff.
Okay. How did you get into a documentary videography?
I used to do journalism work. Like I studied journalism undergrad, so I kind of moved from like writing to doing film. Like once I got my hands on a camera, I was like, this is a much better way to tell a story. First of all, these days people cannot read anything. People are not reading newspapers.
They're really not.
Like they'll read the first 3 sentences of an article.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like scroll down, I'm done. But when you have like images, like a visual story, people are captured. You know what I mean? They're like, there's somebody talking to me. They have a story to tell. So I first got interested in that, like in undergrad. I used to do more of like music videography and like shoot concerts and interview musicians for like random like online magazines that I used to work for. And then I went to school at New School in New York for grad school. Like I was there for like a 2-year thing, and I got more into doing like social justice documentaries and learning more about film in general. That's kind of like how I jumped into that world, shooting short films for other people and doing documentaries. And I love shooting. Like I love shooting and editing things, and I love like telling people stories basically.
Mm.
I'm trying to start a new site called QBC Media, queer, trans, indigenous people of color, and just telling different stories like that we need to have seen and have our identity and our stories be told in a way that is exposed to everybody, not just like little niche markets. Because I feel like queerness is like a little bubble. Like
Yeah.
I feel like you can live in your spectrum bubble and really not even exist in normal society.
Right.
Everyone knows you except for Pride Month, which is
Yeah.
like another story.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows who we are, what we're doing, and it's actually like it is rare to find like out like Black queers that are doing work out and are like indigenous people, especially like I'm from West Africa. Like it's definitely hard to find people who are from West Africa or any place in Africa or Middle Eastern, all this stuff, who are doing like this type of work, and I kind of want to like expose that work community that's out there.
Right.
That's some of the most amazing stories to tell.
Amazing stories.
And produce some of the most amazing content.
Right.
And are really giving a voice to something that's more powerful than what's out in the mainstream right now, I think. Yeah.
I hear that 100%. Like, just to have, I know we talk about it a lot, within our bubbles and everything, but just to have that representation of seeing somebody that you can relate to doing the work is, you know what I mean? Like I would personally say that I do it because this is what I was called to do. But for the youth and people who don't have that around them, don't see these things around them, it's just kind of like, it can be a lot sometimes for somebody. So it's like, we have people in our community that is really doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's really putting in that work. So I totally understand 100%. And I'm here to support you for whatever you need. If you need any help in that, I also am a documentary archivist myself. So like, I'm 100% with it. If you ever need anything for that, because when I was telling my homegirl the other day, I was like, yo, if we don't start archiving these stories that we have, guess what? They go away.
Yeah, they disappear. Without the support, people are not going to be able to sustain it anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to know what happened to Myrtle and Jean, or Kendrick and Larry, or whatever, Bonquisha.
Yeah.
You're not going to know what happened to them years ago if we don't preserve it and pass it along. To me, it's like my people, African, Native American storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't have technology, but you know what they did? They sat around and they told these stories that were passed on down the line. Right. We have so much resources available to us right now that why wouldn't we be taking out the time to do this stuff? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So yeah, there's that. I did want to touch on the white supremacy video that you made, and then I also wanted to touch on the Washington builders too, but I want to first touch on that white supremacy video, and I'm gonna just set the scene for y'all real quick. So I watched this video, and there was just this person that was all dressed up in Trump, like, I mean, from the head to the shoes. I don't know if they had the shoes, but they had the Trump paraphernalia. Like they was decked out
all over. Yeah.
And when questioned, just go ahead and give us the layup.
This was shot at the inauguration. Like I took it upon myself just to go to the inauguration when Trump was, doing his thing to the anti-inauguration. So there was a lot of protesters, obviously, like more protesters than people supporting. So I actually just took it upon myself to just interview Trump supporters. And for some reason, these people didn't realize that I was like not on their side. They're talking to me as if I was like a Trump supporter, but I was like, okay, I seem like I'm just a journalist who's out here working for somebody. So I was like, I'm gonna let these people speak. I met this Hindu Indian man who was an immigrant who was a Trump fan to death. He was like, I love Trump. Trump is a good man. He's gonna make a great president. Like his story is inspiring, basically. Like he was kind of equating him to someone who came from nothing to become president. And I was like, nah, this dude got $1 million from his dad. He, you know, if someone gives you $1 million, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But I just let him speak about his love for Trump for a while. And then I just wanted to ask him like a little bit more heavy-hitting questions about, like, as an immigrant who's obviously in America, who's Hindu, who's Indian, I was like, what about white supremacy? Like I asked him about white supremacy. He did not know what white supremacy meant. He had never been exposed to the idea that the white race believes that they are above any other race, or that there's been like colonization or like imperialism, or just like a construct that has generally existed since the beginning of time. When I had to explain to him what white supremacy was, he was shocked. The look on his face was shocked. He was like, no, I don't believe in that. And I was like, so what about the KKK? Like the former leader of the KKK endorsed Donald Trump. He didn't know what the KKK was. I had to explain to him who they are and what they do. Shocked. He was shocked to death. Like this interview got stranger and stranger as it went along. I think you just kind of have to see it. And it seems like, it almost looks like I like set this guy up. Like I dressed this dude, set him up, sat him down, and exposed him to America. It's like he had no idea that any of these things existed. It was bizarre. I mean, it was bizarre interviewing everybody who was a Trump supporter. I feel like it was just a lot of these people just lack the knowledge to know that. I don't want to completely go off on them.
Yeah.
It was a general misunderstanding of American politics. Was what was happening, you know?
That's what I was just about to ask you. I was about to be like, yo, how did it feel to like hear him or whatever he identifies as speak on something that he had little knowledge on? And that's not just like you kind of like touched on a little bit, like that is the general, not everybody, but that is the general population of the culture. Like people go hard for shit that they know nothing about. Like people put their life invest their lives in behind these people, behind these ideals that they have little knowledge about, that they haven't done the proper research to actually understand, but they go so hard. Why is that? Like, why is that?
That was not the first time I had spoken to like an immigrant person of color who was also a Trump supporter, but I had never met someone who was so emphatic about it. But there's just like, I just think that the American school system has just failed like immensely. Like this was one of the greatest examples of like just how Americans are not educated in world politics, number one, and in general politics of America. I just don't think that people are aware of what's going on around them. I think people are obviously more aware now that there's been like a huge explosion of what the hell is happening to our healthcare, what's happening to our taxes. Well, and now people who are Trump supporters are like, oh my God, my healthcare! I didn't know my healthcare was associated to this. But nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Right.
And then slowly people are starting to realize that things are not going well. But then what's happening is that people ascribe to like this idiot mentality. It's like, yes, this is America where you can become anything. And I think a lot of idiots were inspired by another idiot being in power. They're like, look at this idiot talking the way we as idiots talk. And it's like he's talking our language, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm always surprised to see, you know, people of color being Trump supporters. Like I remember I talked to this Iranian man for like an hour and a half one time. He was a Trump supporter. He was a businessman. He was like, as a businessman, I support Trump and how he's, you know, become president. Like it's amazing for a businessman to become president, you know, and he wants the country to be built as a business. And I was like, that's not how countries work, though. We're not capitalizing on human lives. Well, obviously that's what's been happening. Like, we know that obviously the government is capitalizing on human lives, but we're not running a business. Right. Like, the United States of America is a corporation.
Yes, it is.
Now it's clearly a corporation, and we know this. I mean, there's so much to say about those type of things. I mean, I think it was really interesting to interview all those people. Most of them were just like, yeah, Trump, no, but couldn't answer a single question about, like, what is your stance on, like, healthcare, immigration, none of that. They're just like, he wants to keep America safe. Safe from who? Like, who is he keeping it safe for? Right, like you, like white males. Like, make America great again. Like, it's just, to me, it's nuts. I don't know. But yeah, that being at the inauguration was like being in a zombie movie. It was dead, like compared to what it was when Obama was inaugurated.
It was turned up.
Like, the street, it was even gray that day. Like, the streets were empty. People were like, I mean, then it turned into like a war zone by the end, like with police like throwing gas riot things. Like, you know, it was like, I felt like I wasn't in America. I was like, what's happening here? It was so bizarre. But yeah, that video that's another story.
Yeah, whole another story. Yeah. But I did appreciate it. And not to tag on, you know, the lack of knowledge, but just to see that perspective of where people's minds really do be at. Right. Like, you have no knowledge. It's, to me, it was pure ignorance. Right. You don't even know what's going on before your eyes. It's like, but again, that's another story. But I do appreciate that video for you making.
Thanks for checking that out.
No problem. Washington Builders on a positive note. Let's talk about Washington Builders. I almost shedded a thug tear when I seen that video, because yo, we need that right now, and just to see the youth just so excited. And I don't even know, somebody was chanting at the beginning of it, like, we gonna do this.
Right, I know. That program was really amazing. It was an entrepreneurship program that was run by Gallup, that they wanted like a filmmaker there to kind of like archive, like to show what they were doing. It's a program that they've done, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times. They take high school students and like basically give them the opportunity to make an apparel brand. And they do this for like almost 2 months, and they actually like are funded and have business owners helping them to make this this possible. But they also have like an amazing amount of mentors that come through to like teach them how to be entrepreneurs. And at the end, they have a fashion show where they like show all their work, but they have designers come in, they have like billionaires come in to talk to them. Like, it was really cool to be there for that. And that was like, that was at the same time I was shooting the other documentary. I was shooting them kind of back to back, and I just suddenly fell into this thing of like shooting 2 youth documentaries. That were really cool. And yeah, that program it was kind of like almost like a Shark Tank, because they were competing against each other in groups to like sell their marketing product. And I think it was like 20 kids or something, but they actually sold like their shirts, and their shirts are still selling, I think. I have one of their shirts. But yeah, I really like programs like that. And I like the program is also focused a lot on social justice work, and how a lot of those kids want to be involved in social justice work, like uplifting the community, other youth programs, and how they had a lot of business ideas. Like, it's kind of awesome to talk to youth, and they are so optimistic. Like, this guy was like, I want to be the best fashion designer in the world.
Yeah, I see that.
They're also extremely like, I want to have the biggest whatever it is in the world. And I'm like, okay, do it. Like, no, they're ready. And it was cool, because I was also a little bit of a mentor to them, like telling them about what I do for work, and like the entrepreneurship programs, the entrepreneurship that I do. But yeah, it was cool to shoot. I even had the kids help me shoot sometimes. I did that also in that other program with the the elementary school kids. Like, I would give them my camera sometimes. Like, they had recording devices and they were interviewing people in the community. Like, they were out there with the recorders, like had a clipboard, and we're out there interviewing people.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need that. We really do. That was it's really good to see the just seeing the youth get involved in projects like that. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we here, we do the work, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like that notion of passing the torch. You know what I mean? Like, y'all gonna be the ones to carry this off. So, you know, setting that example, and their minds are just so, it's full of, like, I don't know, the youth, they have this I don't really know what the word I could call it, but it's just like this sunflower sunshine type of shit that they be having going on. Like, anything is possible. And I mean, some of us have it too, but just, they have that carefree. That's what I want to say. That carefree notion that they can do and be anything. And it's like, we got to keep, as you know, as adults, we just have to keep cultivating that and let them know, like, whatever it is that you want to do, regardless of what's going on around you, just keep cultivating that, baby.
Right.
You know, watch it grow, and you'll see what it can do if you stay persistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you for that once again. So what do you got upcoming? Like, do you have any, can we expect to see anything, music, film, journalism? Like, what you got going on?
Yeah, I mean,
besides moving.
right, yeah, I am trying to build this cutie pop media site. I'm trying to film a documentary, actually, like, for the next couple of months, interviewing, you know, queer, trans, indigenous people of color, about their different stories, about their life, but focused a little bit on, like, what it's like to be, like, a person of color, queer in the United States, either an immigrant, and kind of just build a documentary off that. Right now, I'm really just at the beginning stages of it. Like, I am just going to start interviewing people and see where it goes, but I do want to build it into kind of a larger project that's going to go on for longer. Like, I'd like to interview like 50 people, like, over, because since I've been traveling a lot, I've realized, you know, if I have my camera, I should be using it, and I'm around the community all the time. So I kind of want to build a documentary and also, like, help it fund getting this cutie pop media site up, that I want to be able to, like, be a, like, kind of a host of a place where people can post, like, the articles that they write, music, art, and also be a place where, like, people can connect on that site.
Yes.
I'm not, like, I don't do web development in that way, so I would, like, hand it off to someone else. But I'm just trying to get, like, people involved, be interested in the project, kind of start off small and see where it goes from there.
Right. That'll be dope. Let me know when you're getting that in Notion. Definitely promote the shit out of it. And if you need any help with anything, we can send that out. I'm here. And shoot, I look forward to it. The work that you're doing. I do appreciate you know, just taking out that time to put in that work. You know, and simply because this is what you love to do.
Yeah. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I've been checking out your work. I checked out your site. I saw the some of the projects that you have on there. So you also do like film production and documentary type stuff, right?
Yes, I do. I do. I always be like, you know, it just really depends on the day, but like documentary film photography is like, that's my baby. Like, I love to document what's going on in the now, because I feel like, you know, how we talked about a little bit, that visual aspect of it. Like, people, they really don't like to read. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's not a lot of people who will just sit down and go over and read something. So having that visual aspect of whatever it is that you're doing, and like putting that in front of you and just letting that tell the story, it brings awareness to everything else. It's like, oh shit, like that's going on. What is that? Let me click on that. What's going on? You know, like, what's going on here? Like, or, you know, like that, documenting the culture, the overall culture is just, that's my calling. Like, that's just, I thrive in that. So
And
yes.
you travel a lot too. I saw that you're like, where are you now?
Yeah, I'm in VA right now. I'm in Williamsburg right now. But I'm planning on getting an RV and heading on the road soon. So
Nice. That's good.
yeah, I was in Atlanta before I moved out here, but I've been traveling all my life. I've been I mean, military background, just going, going. And I realized as I got older, I'm just like, yo, I mean, staying in one place sounds nice, but it's not for me. Not now, anyway. Not in this present moment that I'm in. Like, I love just learning about people and, you know, just being in different cultures and scenes and settings. Like, I always get like this itch, like this, I couldn't give a time limit on it, but I always get this itch to move around. Like, I'm like, I gotta go.
Like, if I'm somewhere too long, I'm like, but wait, what am I doing here again?
Right. That's me. I'm like,
Yeah.
time to go and plot somewhere else. So I feel that I don't know how the RV shit came to me, but it just I really still don't know to this day. I just one day up and said, "Oh, let me just get an RV." I kept calling it the Scooby Doo shack. I was like, "I'm just getting me like a Scooby Doo van and some shit and just travel around here." But really, yeah, that is what I'm gunning for right now. Just traveling and, you know, documenting and archiving and hopefully connecting with other travelers around the world who, you know, traveler's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to live in an RV. Like,
Word.
I mean, I always had that like that idea. Like, I just want to like travel, play music in every
Yeah.
city, just live in an RV, like pimp it out. Because
Yeah.
I do like the idea of just having like a traveling house. Because
Yeah.
I don't like to stay stable for too long. Like,
Right.
I was like, I normally am moving constantly. Like the longest time I was here, like I was in the same house for like 2 years in DC, but I was traveling like the entire time I was there. Like I was taking temp work in other places, like traveling, playing shows. I can't even do like 2 months without going somewhere. I'm just
Right. And you're like,
like, let me see if
you
I
be looking at the time like,
can like let me put my job on hold. I'm gonna come back. I'll see if I can make it back or not.
right.
Got one way ticket. What's up?
Right.
And then we'll figure it out along the way.
What's probably been like I wouldn't say the no, I am going to say the best. Which place do you say that you will always remember? You will never forget?
I mean, so like I've been to I want to travel more internationally. Um, I mean I love being in West Africa because I'm from West Africa, but I especially love Ghana. Like Ghana's an amazing place, and it's just being in Africa is you're like in a completely different world. And people act way differently. Like people are much nicer there. Like there's a community when you're there. Um, but I really enjoy being there, like the music, everything. But I mean, as far as like in the United States, or I really like Austin, Texas. Like
Hey.
because I'm specifically there at South by Southwest,
Yeah.
and that's there. I like that city a lot. But I'm definitely a big fan of California, Bay Area.
Yeah.
I'm like all about sunshine.
Right. And water.
Yeah.
Love being close to the water. I can't wait to just travel along the coast and just be like, yo, I'm about to just sit here, wake up, and the beach just
Right.
sun popping, you know, water trickling. You know, I love that too. I totally understand. Yeah, definitely. Well, shoot, when I come to Oakland, because my homegirl's from Oakland, I got people in Cali, so when I come to Oakland, I'm definitely gonna stop by.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool energy there too. There's a lot of artists. It's like a little community feel too. Like, it's one of my favorite cities just because of like how many people are producing like not normal art. Like, there's a lot of artists that are doing different things. They're not. There's producing a lot of like experimental music, a lot of experimental art. Like I've been to a lot of shows that I've just seen people doing things that I've never seen before in my life or heard. I think people like promote that culture a lot over there.
Yeah, yeah. I heard the music scene in Oakland is crazy.
Yeah.
period, or just the art culture in general is. And I heard that the queer community is actually growing
Yeah.
more than it is too.
Yeah, Oakland is like one of the queerest places I've ever been to in my life. Like San Francisco
Oh,
in
I can't
general, like
wait.
yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a definitely cool vibe. But like, yeah, where are you planning to travel to next? Like, what do you have?
Well, I'm going. Have you ever been to Richmond?
Yeah, I've been to Richmond before.
Yeah, I heard, I know, not even heard, I know. I haven't been to Richmond, like stayed in Richmond. I've stopped in Richmond yet, but the art scene in Richmond, the music production scene in Richmond is off the chain. So I'm definitely gonna stop in Richmond. Never. I hear so many bad things about New York, but I still want to go anyway, just because it's, you know, I know a lot of artists out that way. Definitely want to stop in New York, Canada. Like I'm basically going, because when all the places that I've lived, I've never lived, even though people do consider Virginia as the South, which I really don't, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's like this coast. It's like I've never lived on this coast. I was always in the South or I was on the West Coast. So this is the first time that I've ever lived on this side. Never lived in the Midwest, but I love Chicago. So I'm basically going to do like this. I think I'm gonna drive up to Chicago and then just make like this loop back down and go to North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, back to Atlanta, stop in Atlanta, go back to New Orleans. Like I'm gonna just make like this loop, because I mean, the North is the North, but I'm not really too crazy about the North like that. I mean, I'm gonna go there because it's there, but I just want to like make a loop. After I get to Cali, then I'll hit the north side, and then like kind of
That's cool.
swing. So
that should be awesome. And New Orleans too. New Orleans is one of my favorite cities too. New Orleans is
amazing. That's home. That's like after Texas. After Texas, for me, New Orleans is home. And then after that is Vegas, because that's one of the places I grew up the longest. But it's nothing like that. And musically, yo, that's the place to be.
I mean, that's real. I've almost considered moving to New Orleans. Because of the music scene there.
Yeah.
And it's also just like, since I've grown up in like DC and I've lived in New York, like it's so much cheaper to live down there.
Yes, it is.
DC and New York, you have to be hustling constantly. Like even it's hard because you almost don't have time to create art if you're trying to survive there.
Right.
Like, but when you're in a city like that, first of all, you just walk out the street and it's just
popping. Yeah.
And I am like a more of like a hype party person too. So New Orleans is like, when I go there, I'm like,
let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
Let's do it. For sure. Well, shoot, if you out here traveling, I mean, I know you're gonna be in Oakland, but if you out here traveling, you know what I mean, or wherever you may be, let me know. You know, I don't know. I'm planning to like depart hopefully in December. That's my goal. That's what I'm gearing for.
Nice. Okay.
But just hit me up, and if I can make it, I would definitely come through.
Yeah, I think we should definitely collaborate on some work for sure.
We should, and I definitely want to talk to you too about definitely filmmaking, because I have something coming up, and I think it's good that we touch base, because I don't know, I always think in my head, I'm like, the universe pulls people into your life for a reason. And before I knew you did music, but you know, I didn't know until I, did extra research that you did all this other stuff too. So I'm like, universe, are you, and you Cancer too? You
right?
Cancer
too? I didn't know you were Cancer.
No. I'm a Leo Virgo cusp.
Okay.
So, but Cancers is my weakness. Like it's my moon sign. So it just, y'all get me. Like that's all I was saying. When it comes to Cancers, like Cancers are my ultimate weakness, because they understand. I'm like, why do you understand so much? Like why do you get me like this?
I feel that. Nice.
For real. So yeah, that's when you told me you were Cancer, I'm like, all right, okay, it makes sense. All right, cool. Gotcha. All right. So definitely we'll be talking
Yeah.
about some stuff in the future. And shoot, keep me posted. And thank you so much for coming through to the QBC Archives. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you got in contact, and I'm thank you for checking out my work. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad.
Oh, always, always. And yeah, keep me posted. Hit me up if you need anything or just want to talk. Let me know. I got you.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, peace, Julie.
All right, have a good one.
All right.